Welcome to week 2 of This and That.
What's going on? We're back.
We are back, and we're bigger than ever.
We got our stuff together enough to bring you another episode.
We ain't quitting on you on just one now.
No, we can't have just one upload.
No, that would be
Embarrassing.
really embarrassing. I'm Matthew Yarbrough,
I'm Matthew Bright.
and this is This and That.
This and That. We got a pretty good show for you this week, I think.
We're excited about it.
I am.
It's going to be fun. It's a topic that's near and dear to both of our hearts.
Yeah, but somehow I still learned an awful lot about it while I was researching.
Mm-hmm. That's what we like to do here at This and That. We like to learn, and we like to share knowledge with other people. Speaking of which, we start every segment, or every episode here, with a word of the day.
What is the word of the day this week?
Today's word of the day is haptic.
Haptic, okay. I think I know what haptic is, but why don't you enlighten us all?
So, a lot of people might not know what this term is, but they definitely have used things or experienced it before. Haptic means relating to the sense of touch, in particular, relating to the perception and manipulation of objects using the senses of touch and proprioception.
Proprioception. How can you give us a definition for the word of the day with an even crazier word in the definition? So
I took account for that, so here's the definition in the definition. So proprioception just means the sense of self-movement. So like the sense of self-movement and your body's position.
Your spatial awareness and stuff?
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool,
so
okay.
That's what haptic. Yeah, so haptic is relating to the sense of touch.
You guys got a 2 for this week.
Right? See, that's how much we love sharing things and sharing knowledge with you.
Good job, Matthew.
Thank you.
Overachiever here at This and That.
So the reason a lot of people know haptic is because of haptic feedback, which is a technology that's used, any use of touch to communicate with users. So anytime, think about it, you're picking up your cell phone, or your iPhone, your Android, and you press it and it vibrates, that's a haptic feedback, haptic response right there.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. It's part of our everyday lives.
It is part of our everyday lives.
Haptic feedback. That's cool. It sounds cool too.
It does sound cool.
It sounds kind of dangerous, like you would see it in some type of like space rescue movie where like part of the plot is they have to stop the haptic feedback from radiation.
Captain, there's way too much haptic feedback in the Jeffries tubes.
I'd watch it.
Yeah.
It sounds dangerous. Interesting.
Get Patrick Stewart involved, I'd definitely watch.
Patrick Stewart. Yeah.
Engage.
Okay, so this week, let's just jump right into it. We're going to talk about esports this week.
Esports, electronic sports, otherwise known as pro gaming.
Yes, it's a form of competition where professional gamers face off solo or in teams. Mm-hmm. They take place in multiplayer settings and typically have cash prizes awarded nowadays.
Nowadays, which is crazy to me, because think about just growing up. For me, it was just like the NES, just playing Mario Brothers. It was just like an escape. And now there's literally arenas.
Yeah.
Arenas full of people like you'd think it was the Super Bowl.
It's fascinating.
For video games.
It's fascinating to me to watch that evolution because, as a kid, you have that very small core group of like maybe your other friends that play video games, and you had to get together and physically sit around one television and then
cram around one television.
Yeah, but that was part of the fun of it.
Yeah, it was.
And then that later grew into like LAN parties and stuff where guys would get together and link their computers up, and then we'll get further into that evolution more in more detail, but it's fascinating.
Yeah, just with the rise of the internet and how we communicate nowadays. Seriously, it's like this whole global phenomenon now over the last decade or so that's just completely taken on a whole life of its own.
It shows me that I'm not one of those super intelligent engineer types, because when I think of technology now, I can't fathom what it'll look like in the future, and how much more simple our lives will become for it, and how much cooler it'll be.
It's crazy. I mean, they say that technology advances more in 3 years than it does in the prior 30.
Yeah, I
And-
mean, I don't have the smarts to refute that. So I mean, it sounds plausible to me.
I can neither prove nor deny that.
I cannot. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
87% of statistics are made up on the spot.
That's interesting. Okay, you know what? That gives me an idea. I think going forward, if you're watching us on YouTube, we're gonna have a little fact checker at the bottom of the screen. Anytime,
A mat checker.
yeah, we'll call it that because we're both Matthews. Anytime we say something that neither one of us is sure about, we can go back and actually check the accuracy of it. And then
I like
if
that.
it differs from what we're saying on screen, we'll put up the factual information
We live in
below
an
us.
age of disinformation. We need to be vigilant to, make sure that we check ourselves.
Yes. We promise to use only the most accurate sources that we can. Trusted, reliable, whatever that means these days.
Yeah. And if we find out we were wrong about something, we will put it right here for you.
Yeah.
Say, we fucked up. Sorry.
I'm not above admitting when I'm wrong, you know?
No, that's a sign of integrity.
Yeah. So okay, the varying types of esports tournaments, and I think they call them events. Like each one individually is called an event. I'm just learning the lingo, so forgive me if
There's a whole language.
I was gonna say, like, I'm gonna reiterate. I had been familiar with esports on like the outskirts of it, but I've never really looked into it or anything. So I'm learning a lot here.
Oh, me too. I'd never looked into it at this level. As until we decided to do this.
Yeah, really.
It's been a
Same
lot
here.
of fun learning about this.
Okay, so the varying types of esport events. You have first-person shooter games such as Call of Duty, Apex Legend, or Halo.
Oh, I love Halo.
I've always meant to play Halo. It is on my list. I will get to it eventually.
Big in my college days, everybody played it that I knew.
It was
You were like an outcast if you didn't play it in some of my groups of friends.
I kind of felt that way. Then we have a multiplayer online battle arena. That sounds epic. We got games
MOBA.
like League of Legends and Dota 2. I hope that's not supposed to be like DOTA 2.
No, it's a defense of the ancients. Is
Oh.
what Dota is. That's just an acronym for it.
Can you explain that to me a little bit? Just a little bit, like your 30-second. Can you describe it? Because I'm not familiar with it.
Well, League of Legends is. You mentioned League of Legends first, and that was kind of like a game that was kind of like spawned from Dota, Defense of the Ancients. It's one of those, like you said, you described it. It's called a MOBA. It's a multiplayer online battle arena. So that's where you have. It's like a top-down view where you get to assume, in League of Legends at least, they're called champions. So you get to be a we love champions around here.
By the way, how you doing, Randy? He's still a little shy.
He's a little shy,
He'll
guys.
come around.
But
He'll come around.
make sure if you didn't see our induction to our first inductee of the Hall of Champions, Mr. Randy Santel, competitive food eater and all-around bro.
Back to you, Matthew.
Anyway, but yeah, no. So it would be like a top-down view where you have your champion and you go and you fight other people who are playing, and it's a big team-based thing. So you have to assemble a team of all the proper attributes in order to face against your enemies. So Dota is like in that same realm as like that.
Okay, cool.
It's huge.
After that, we got fighter game events like Mortal Kombat, Super Smash Brothers. Those are all games I'm way more familiar with. And if I was going to try my hand at esports competitively, I would probably. Those are the games I'd probably practice.
Oh, I still remember the first day I got the original Super Smash Brothers with my brother. Because, I mean, it was great. That was back in the time when you actually went to the Blockbuster and you could rent. No, I'm serious. Yeah, you would rent video games and we would pick up a movie and we would pick up, I know, rest in peace, Blockbuster.
Amen.
Isn't there still the one?
There is one in Bend, Oregon.
I love that you know exactly.
Shout out to, no, I just watched there's a documentary that just came out recently called The Last Blockbuster, and I watched it within the last 2 weeks. So that's the only reason it's fresh on my mind.
I hope when you say The Last Blockbuster, it has the same gravitas as like The Last Airbender.
This lady, I forget her name. I apologize. she puts a lot. Her entire life is running this Blockbuster now. It's the only one, so there's no like formal distribution line that they have. So she goes out and hand buys the new release DVDs every week.
Wow.
From various retailers, and so they
Just
have
does it
them in
all
stock.
herself.
Like multiple. Yeah, she puts out. I don't know, man. It was a great documentary. It made me very nostalgic for what you were just about to say, going back to the Blockbuster and renting these video games. And
it is nostalgic. When did you get the physical hand-in copy of a game or a movie or a DVD? It's like that same sensation as like, okay, yes, on your Kindle you can have, thousands of books, which is amazing, but it's not like holding the real thing and turning the pages.
You've seen my bookshelves. I still prefer to buy physical copies of books in most of the media that I consume.
There's nothing like the original.
I like something tangible.
Yeah, that you can actually hold and feel with your hands.
Yeah, I like reading like CDs still. I'll buy a CD if it comes out that I want, so I can read the liner notes and admire the artwork that somebody put a lot of time into.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the design. Yeah, I don't know. We're getting off topic here, but we'll have to do an episode about Blockbuster because I could talk about Blockbuster for an entire episode.
I think so. I think we'll plan on it. Come back next week when we
maybe not next week, but in the future we will we'll I don't know, we'll talk back to topic at hand.
But we were at the Blockbuster and we got that copy of Super Smash Brothers for the N64, and I had never played anything like it. It was such a great idea at the time.
It was always
for
tricky
Nintendo.
Renting a cartridge video game because it was already, even if you owned the cartridge, you have to blow in it to get it to work.
Didn't they debunk that? Didn't they say that's actually bad for the game in the long run?
You know what? I don't care about that science or junk. From personal experience, I've seen it work. Mm-hmm. I've had it happen for me numerous times, but it was always tricky if you got a rented cartridge because you didn't know how old it was, how beat up it was. The blowing trick didn't always work on a rented cartridge. So sometimes I had the experience where I would get a cartridge, I'd get it home. Sometimes it was like an hour later and all this anticipation was building up and you couldn't get the cartridge to work.
Oh, that was the worst. And it wasn't like, when you were a little kid too, so it was not like you couldn't just ask, hey, can you drive me back down to the... No, you already got your game.
Yeah, man.
No. Kids today do not know the pain.
But they also don't know the joy of getting to go see a wall of video games.
Yeah, man.
And you're thinking, I could play that one all by myself for 3 days, or I could play this one with my friends for 2 days. And you have to like weigh all these decisions and these options. And
games
sometimes you renting a game meant that your friends also got to play a game. That's a heavy decision.
It is.
Because I had friends that couldn't afford video game systems at all. Mm-hmm. So sometimes if I chose my video game based on a video game that I knew my friend might be excited to play as well.
I think that's the one thing that's really interesting about video games is that no matter how they've changed over the years, from like Pong, and Space Invaders until now.
Thank God we grew up in a time slightly beyond whenever Pong was coming out.
We had a happy medium. we got to see the evolution, like, from the, the Nintendo wars and all that stuff, like Xbox and Sony, and everybody just like coming onto the stage. It was fun to see it all like from the beginning,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
What I was going to say is that the thing that's really neat that video games still, even back then and now, they bring people together. Now, back then it was like your neighborhood, your friends and whatnot. Like you said, you're here like, oh, Jimmy down the street just got like, Mortal Kombat or something. You'd be like, whoa, my mom won't let me play that. And next thing you know, everybody was over at Jimmy's house. You were making new friends. Yep. You were having a sleepover, playing all these crazy games. Like
that is not far from accurate for, I'm sure, a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. And now you have literally people from all over the world. From Korea, Japan. There's a huge gaming population in Sweden.
Now I've kind of learned that over the last couple of days of research on this. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. One of these days, we're gonna have my buddy Austin call in, and he can talk about it because he's.
That'd be cool.
He's been playing Counter-Strike for I think probably like 20 years.
This is a nice time to say if anybody out there is watching and has any type of like audio visual skills that could help us maybe get to the level of production value that we want. Right now, we're figuring it out as we go, and we'll get there eventually, but any help is absolutely welcomed. So, back to...
Anyway. Oh, no! Anyway.
2 guys with ADD start a podcast.
Yeah. But anyway, no, big population of gamers in Sweden, and then in the UK a little bit as well, but in the Netherlands too. A lot of folks down in the Netherlands as well.
Shout out to those guys. Keep kicking ass.
Well, no, I was just saying.
No, I'm giving a shout out to those guys.
Oh, yeah.
Keep kicking ass, man. I've learned that Sweden is at the top of the peak, so to speak.
Well, one of the most iconic Swedish gamers / streamers / Twitch / personalities
/ all of those things.
All of those things came from Sweden, and his name is Felix. And you may know him better as his stage name, which is PewDiePie. Yeah, it's kind of hard not to know. Even if you don't follow video games or streaming or anything, it's kind of hard not to know who he is if you use the internet.
I was just say, even having not really been in, I don't watch that kind of stuff very often. I've heard of him. I've seen him. I know of a lot of his controversies.
He's done a couple of controversial things. It's interesting though how like it even came about, because whenever he first started like streaming, like him playing games and whatnot, there was nobody else really doing that. There was nobody just like sitting alone in a room with a pair of headphones on and playing a video game and talking about it. Like nobody else was really doing that.
Yeah, I mean, at least in America, you get made fun of for that.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
You called a loser and
it's like, what are you, a dweeb?
You incel. I don't know, whatever they use to talk down to people doing what they like to do.
Seriously. So and at that time it was still kind of like shunned. And when he started doing it, I looked up a couple of information about him. It was pretty interesting. Well, first he was born in Gothenburg in Sweden, and he eventually was first going to the Chalmers Institute of Technology, but he left because he wanted to just do more creative things. He had always been interested in video games and whatnot, but then he started getting interested in Photoshop as well, and like creating things.
Good skill to have.
Oh my God, I that's something I really want to do. I want to get better at Photoshop.
I'm currently brushing up, and I mean when I say brushing up, I mean learning from the very bottom Photoshop right now. It's an intimidating program. You can do so much with it, and when you don't know how to do anything with it, it's easy to like
daunting.
Yeah, it's really easy to like tense for me to like, oh man, I get overwhelmed sometimes.
It is overwhelming. I've used it a couple of times myself, and you can do so much that you don't even know where to begin.
I found that my brain doesn't really work in the layers thing that you have to do in Photoshop, where you create different layers for everything you're doing. It takes my brain a minute to like, okay, this layer is this, and if I click it, I'm a little slow to there's a little lag there.
I'd like to watch a couple of videos or practice to get better at it, just for the fact that I would love to Photoshop like pictures of my friends in like compromising positions.
You can do a lot of devious things with Photoshop.
No, I'm not saying devious, but
I don't necessarily mean that in the criminal sense. You can do a lot of mischievous and devious things that are innocent.
Yeah, no, I just like silly things, like like photoshopping like a picture of my dog like on my brother's head or something like that. I mean, just silly things.
Yeah,
but. But no, what was I going to say here? No, this really spoke to me when I was learning about PewDiePie. He after he decided to go out to quit school so that he can like focus on like being creative full time, he did a lot of things to support himself, because whenever he left school, his parents said they weren't going to financially support him anymore. So he took on all sorts of odd jobs. He worked as a harbor captain.
Okay.
He also worked at a hot dog stand.
Okay.
And then he actually began selling prints that he would make in Photoshop.
Oh, okay. I mean, hey, hustle however you got to do it.
That's what I'm saying. It's like when you have a dream about something, and you have to literally do whatever it is that you can to do to make it happen. So I respect that.
Yeah, hey.
But he was the pioneer when it came to video games with streaming, because he sort of started the whole what's called the Let's Play genre, where a lot of people have been doing like walkthroughs where like this is how you beat the game from start to finish.
I used to watch a lot of those.
Oh yeah, for the strategies, like if it's a complicated game, you get stuck on it or something like that. It would be you'd always try and look to the internet, be like, please, I hope somebody else had the same problem that I did, and I'm not just an idiot.
9 times out of 10, someone else is struggling with it.
Exactly.
And smart enough to upload a video about it.
Mm-hmm. He was his videos were really different though, because instead of just like playing through the game, it was focused just on his experience. Like, all right, how's this game? Like, he's giving commentary about it, and most of the time it's like humorous, and sometimes irreverent. So it's not like the whole walkthrough. It's just like. It's like kind of like recreate. I guess the reason people like it and the reason I like it is kind of recreating that experience of going back to your like your friend's house when they rent the new game. You've never seen the game before, and you get to watch somebody else play it. It's just as much fun sometimes. So I think that's where the appeal comes from.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, there's an appeal because he has 108 million subscribers now on YouTube.
Yep.
That's insane to me.
It's impressive.
And he's gotten more than 20.
You don't reach that level without doing something right.
Exactly. 20 billion views. So, I mean...
My hat's off to you, man.
Yeah, I'd take my hat off, but I'd have to take my mic off, too. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So the last two events that I got up here is sports game events like Madden and NBA 2K and others, and then there's other events like card games and real-time strategy games.
Card games?
Yeah, I didn't.
Like, you mean like get better at throwing your cue cards.
I know, right?
When you say card games, I think you're not talking like, obviously you're not talking poker. You're talking like strategic
I believe,
games.
I believe like your Pokemons, your Magics, tabletop card games like that.
I love Magic. I'm not even going to lie. It's so much fun.
And I'm a Pokemon guy. That's what makes this that's what makes this work.
That's the only thing keeping this podcast together is the strange glue that exists between weird collecting trading card games.
Yeah, I have a lot of weird collections, and Pokemon cards is among them.
That's something I never got into. I loved Pokemon, like the show and stuff, like growing up.
I was never really into the show or the video games. I was always strictly into the cards.
Strictly the cards?
Yes.
Well, that's cool. Did you like baseball cards and stuff?
No, not really.
No?
Nope.
Just Pokemon.
I like Pokemon cards. I
Hey,
think
you like what
the
you like?
artwork, because the cards are always different. They have beautiful art on a lot of them. Some of them are shiny. Ooh, shiny. I don't know, man.
What were you saying before about ADHD?
Yeah, right. Look. There was just something exciting about it. Opening up a pack of Pokemon cards and hoping to get like a holographic or something.
Oh, yeah.
I still watch, all the time I watch card opening YouTube videos and stuff to see what the new sets are. I haven't really collected the last few sets because, especially during COVID, they've gotten very expensive. Limited supplies due to like
I can imagine
production and stuff like that. So
must be fun to watch it open though.
it is. I get to live vicariously through other people and just wish.
Well, that's why unboxings are fun to watch.
Yeah. I guess essentially that's what that is, right?
It is. It's an unpackaging.
Yep. There's an unboxing for everyone too.
There is.
Because I watch a lady also do a bunch of as seen on TV products. Mm-hmm. She just like unboxes them, tests them out, and stuff like that. She's really funny. I don't know. We're off topic again. So I did a lot of research on the history of esports. I was surprised to see that it kind of started all the way back, or you can kind of say that it started all the way back in the 50s. Like the very early days of competitive computer games.
And wait, in the 50s? Is that when like Pong came out and stuff?
Well, like back in 1952, a computer scientist named Alexander Shafto Douglas.
Shafto
Douglas was working on his PhD at Cambridge, and he had the idea to put tic-tac-toe on a computer. And he was able to play against the computer only. Yeah, and they could determine who the computer could determine who began. So they didn't even get to choose like if they went first or not.
That's interesting. Tic-tac-toe.
Tic-tac-toe, yeah.
I would not have expected.
I think I read that they called it XOXO or something like that. The official, he called it XOXO. So like the first real multiplayer game came in 1958 though, so just a few years later.
Oh wow, yeah.
Still in the 50s. It was called Tennis for Two and allowed two people to play against each other for the first time. And it used like a very early model joystick of some sort. I couldn't find a picture of it. I was trying to. And it said this title was considered by many to be the birth of esports.
Oh.
I guess all it takes is like the competitive nature of it to be,
And now that we recognize that, video games are like, a sport now because that it requires like, the disciplines, discipline and training and...
I like your disciplines, sir.
No, the training that these players go through is really, really intense. I mean, honestly, I mean, some of them get like one of the biggest worries like in the industry is about like burnout. And I mean, which you think only happens to really high like executives and people in like positions of power and stuff like that. No, these they're putting in some serious hours. Yeah, like one of the biggest teams around that people know of is Team Liquid, and they're really good at League of Legends. That's their thing. So, and League of Legends is probably it. I can't say that it's like the biggest game in the world essentially for competitive gaming, but a lot of people would argue that it is. So, Team Liquid, they pretty much have a minimum. What do you think is the minimum hours that they practice in a week?
In a week?
Yeah. Like, I mean, normal people have a job that's like a 40-hour work week, so.
I'll guess that maybe on the high end, 80 hours.
Yeah. Seriously.
Is that it?
The minimum is 50 hours.
That's not surprising.
The minimum is 50 hours, but most people are doing 60 to 70 hours and much, much more. Like some of these guys like don't sleep.
Yeah,
or they'll only sleep 2 or 4 hours a night. They don't see their friends or family. They don't have time for relationships. They're literally just with the team, and when they're not with the team, they're practicing solo. I've never seen anything like this.
I would absolutely. Like when I sit down to play video games now, I get burnt out after. If I'm really into the game that I'm playing at the moment, maybe 2 hours tops.
Well, that's because you're so old.
Yeah, I'm past my peak and prime.
Well, if you were a pro gamer, you'd be really past your peak.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, it's a young man's sport. You have to have the time. You have to have the mental dexterity.
Seriously though, but I mean, a lot of these gamers like start off when they're like in their early teens, and they go pro by the time they're 16 or 17 sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean. And then a lot of them end up retiring by the time they're not even in their 30s. Normally late 20s is the longest that a lot of people end up playing before they retire.
I actually have a little information about that. A former StarCraft professional, I want to say Guame, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Guame Patry, now in his mid-30s, insists that he could no longer compete as a pro due to his age. He said most aspiring professionals begin their careers in their mid-teens, peaking in their early to mid-20s. And Statista points out the average age of the North American esports players to be around 24 to 27.
Wow. That's something else.
It is something else.
I mean,
to know that you're too old to play video games professionally. Like, man, when I was growing up, that wasn't even like I mean, maybe for some it was on their radar, but for me, you're told you can't do that for a living. You can't do that for a living. And
now there are scholarships for esports.
Yeah.
That is a fact.
That's crazy. That now that it is a thing, all of a sudden you find out that you're too old for it. What? I'm too old to sit down and play video games.
Oh my God.
I wonder if there will ever be like one of those guys that comes along that just like in his, like, let's say like 60s, 70s, and is just like, just beast on everybody.
He puts all the youngins to shame.
I would
hope
hope
like a phenomenon.
I would hope to live to see that someday. Just like, but then maybe it turns out that he's just been doping the whole time, like using performance enhancing computer chips in his brain or something. And he's actually
he's been working with Elon Musk.
Yeah, it's like some kind of evil conspiracy to take over the esports world and win all the championships and all the money for world domination. And it's like in the last final round, the old guy's about to win, and everyone's real suspenseful, and the young kid's sweating. Maybe a little bit of blood drips out of his pores. And then all of a sudden the old guy like spazzes out and like starts sparking from his hands because his fingers are going too fast and smoke starts coming out of him, and then all of a sudden sounds like a Inspector Gadget cartoon or something like that.
That sounds exactly like Inspector Gadget. I can get behind it. Wait, but this reminds me of when you talk about the old guy. There's one of the best players of. Remember we were talking about Dota, Defense Against the Ancients. So Dota 2, one of the oldest pro players, he's earned the nickname the Rocky Balboa of video games.
Nice.
Guess how old he is?
How old?
Guess.
32.
Yes, he's 32.
Oh God, I was only saying that because that's my age, and I will.
You can't play games anymore, old man.
I'm done. I'm done for. I'm good at guessing numbers in this game.
Oh. Oh my goodness.
It's such a strange feeling to know that you're too old to play video games. I can't say it enough.
Well, first of all, you're not too old to play.
I'm
too old to compete.
I'm speaking about...
You're too old to compete in video games.
Nice clarification. I'm speaking about competing competitively in video games.
Yeah.
Because, man, that was like one of my dreams as a kid. I would have loved to have played video games professionally. I don't know. We're right at about break time, though. Before we get into any more of this information,
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to have to interrupt any of the good stuff we got.
And we got a commercial break coming up real quick.
I hope this week is better than last week. I don't know how Todd Malinsky's doing. I hope his business is still up and running.
I don't know.
But right now, the producer promised us for better sponsors this week. Let's keep our fingers crossed, guys.
Yeah.
We're going to cut to a break. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Are you a real fucking man who's tired of being told to fall in line with today's culture of PC pussies? Do you long for a time when you can say and do whatever the hell you wanted without the consequences and backlash of the good people around you? Well, come on down to Toxic Mass. Toxic Mass is the first non-denominational service for men who stand during the anthem and boycott any person or entity that supports basic human rights for all. Period. Conveniently located in the hearts of men everywhere, Toxic Mass tosses it back to a day when you called the guy holding his ears during fireworks a It meant it. If you tell women to smile and they call them cunts for ignoring you, bring your ass to Toxic Mass. If you use phrases like man up or that's gay, get your ass to Toxic Mass. If you're teaching your son that boys don't cry and that only girls and blacks wear pink, then bring your ass to Toxic Mass. Do you throw like a girl or do you walk up to that mound and fuck for hours? The times are changing, but you don't have to. If you're a man who cries at movies, then take your ass back to the diary store and write yourself into a new set of balls. Toxic Mass, the only place where boys can be boys.
Oh my God. Oh boy.
I am speechless. I'm sorry, folks.
We are so sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
We're firing the producer.
Yeah.
You're fired. You know that, right? Good.
I swear to God that was supposed to be from Pottery Barn.
Man, we dropped the ball on that one. Sorry, we don't support that.
We do not advocate.
We urge you not to support that.
Do not support Toxic Mass.
I'm embarrassed that we have to include that.
Oh boy.
Okay. Let's. How do you even move on from something like that?
I don't know. All right. Yeah, we gotta talk about something fun. Let me talk about some more of these guys' nicknames. That they really cracked me up. I like that, the Rocky Balboa.
Yes. Let's get into some nicknames.
Okay, so we were talking about some of the other guys that were from Sweden, that were really good gamers here. So we also have Christopher Allesund. He is
Allesund.
Yes,
that's fun to say.
I know, and his gamer tag is Get Right.
Get right.
Except it's spelled like uppercase, lowercase, like the condescending SpongeBob meme.
Oh.
But he has another name that he's known as when he's competing. Lurker.
Okay.
There's another guy from Sweden, Patrick Lindberg, and he's known as Forrest. And I was like, well, that's interesting.
They ever find his baby?
What?
You never heard of the Lindbergh baby?
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Oh, that's wow, what an esoteric reference. Anyway, his name is Forrest, and I didn't get it until I saw a picture of the guy. He's just this large, bearded man.
Think you ever learned to run?
Oh.
Okay, I'll stop.
Oh, what a punny guy. No, I like, we were talking about Korea as another really big gaming capital here. So two of the best pro gamers ever were actually from Korea. One was Sung Hyuk Lee. He just goes by Faker.
Okay.
Which I think that if I was in a video game and I got taken out by a guy named Faker, it would kind of like piss me off a little bit. Maybe that's what he was going for. I don't know.
I don't know if I ever really noticed, like I played GTA online a lot. I don't really ever pay attention to the other people's names. Maybe it matters more in some games, but I don't really pay attention to that.
We were talking about earlier about LAN parties. Whenever like Halo came out, I went to my buddy's house one time, and we had 4 Xboxes, 4 TVs, 4 controllers for each one, and 16 like sweaty middle school, high school age guys with way too many Totino's pizza rolls.
I can smell this memory.
And we were playing it, and once we got around like 2-3 a.m. we were just playing video games for like 10 hours straight. You know, when at that age you start getting the giggles, everybody starts changing their screen names to ridiculous things, you know, and all of a sudden it was just like, you were killed by your mom, you were killed by...
Oh, it actually says the name?
Well, it doesn't say it out loud. I'm just being dramatic, but
that would be funny if it
people,
did.
You know, people would be calling out, like, you know. So my fondest memory is like all of a sudden, like, we're in this real heated battle, and then somebody gets taken out, and they go, "Oh man, who the fuck is Penis Wrinkle?"
That I mean, yeah, you could have a lot of fun with your online handle.
Oh yeah.
My only real experience with funny ones was like whenever people used AOL Instant Messenger a lot.
Oh yeah,
People used,
remember that.
they were dramatic, they were funny. No use getting into it. Let's jump right into the 1960s of esports.
Ooh, 60s.
The space game Space War had been written in 1962 by a computer scientist named Stephen Russell with some of his colleagues. Space War. It's a game that sounds like I would want to play that game.
Reminds me. Well, I'm thinking Space Invaders now.
Not to be confused with Space Invaders.
Okay.
2 players with 1 spaceship play against each other. The spaceships had limited fuel and ammunition, and you had to fight against the gravitational field of a planet also.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a lot of... I feel like
There's a lot going on there
for
us.
Primitive game, there was a lot of things that you had to deal with. Sounds like an interesting game.
Yeah.
There is... You can see it... You can see like people play it on YouTube and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
This called? Space War?
Space War! Exclamation point.
Exclamation point.
Yeah.
That's what you need. Okay.
And it said this particular game is considered the world's first digital computer game and was named one of the top 10 computer games of all time in 2007.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a pretty important one, I guess, especially if you're very into the history of video games and stuff. You probably already know about it. But to me, just learning about it sounds like it's a pretty important game. I suck at that.
Yeah, you gotta. We can practice every week, man.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're kind of jumping to the 70s, because the 60s, that was pretty much, they got one game in the 60s. Space War made a big splash, and anything else was just kind of looked down upon from what I could tell. On October 19th, 1972, the Laboratory for Artificial Intelligence at Stanford University held the first esports tournament. So, I mean, back in 1972,
wow.
It was like the first what was considered a tournament for the Intergalactic Space War Olympics. 24 players met that day to compete in Space War. The winner received an annual subscription to Rolling Stone magazine.
Wow. Very prestigious.
Early games were limited to like universities that had the equipment to, host that sort of thing.
Or like a warehouse for the computer.
I guess so.
Back in the day there. You were trying to throw those cards at the camera. And
I'll get a couple before the end of it. I got a stack here. Yeah, so they only like universities and places that had like the computer capacity to play that kind of stuff were it was limited to those venues, which is
well, a lot of the
last place you would think of playing video games now.
Yeah, at school.
in most cases.
Well, I mean, like I was saying before, I wasn't joking when I said that when I found out there are scholarships for this. The NACEs, the National Association of Collegiate Esports. There's 151 member schools across the U.S. that offer scholarships, and they're anywhere from $500 to $8,000 a year. So it's significant.
Does the student have to be enrolled in some type of computer programming or something involved, like related to video games? Because I imagine that it would probably be hard. I don't know. I imagine that they would probably want it to be somebody that is going to school for something that maybe hopefully going into like video game productions and stuff.
Or like design or something like that.
Something like that.
That sounds like it would make sense, but I can neither prove nor deny that.
I imagine that they wouldn't just let me go get some esports scholarship to go to school for broadcasting.
They must. Well, I mean, what's wrong with broadcasting?
Well, I guess broadcasting, bad example. Maybe broadcasting, they could use that as some type of, because they have hosts for esports shows and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, whatever.
Not that I would ever want to do that.
You never know. Well, I know you can't do esports. That's right. We discussed it. You're too old.
I can't play esports. I could host esports.
Ah, there you go.
Like I've watched a lot of competition videos and stuff. They have guys commentating, and then the host and different people. They make big productions out of this stuff. It's impressive. It's honestly impressive. It seems like it'd be a great time to be at some of these things. No,
yeah. I mean, it's real active commentary, just like you'd find it like a hockey game or a football game. It's no different. I mean, but they are really putting a lot of money into these kids, though. In Harrisburg University.
Like Harrisburg, Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Back in 2018, they were the first esports program. They issued a full ride scholarship to their entire 16-player esports team.
Harrisburg what? Harrisburg University?
Harrisburg University.
So what is the yearly tuition there anyway? Like $1,000? $1,200?
Have you ever been to Harrisburg University?
No, I have not, but I've driven past it. I've driven through Harrisburg so many times in my life.
All right, and that's how you gathered and garnered your tuition information.
I was literally just trying to make a joke about Harrisburg University, because I know you don't hear a lot of people graduating from Harrisburg University.
Well, guess what? That team.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Oh, I'm just saying they gave a full ride. In 2019, they won ESPN's Collegiate Esports Championship.
I stand corrected, people. I'll shut my mouth. If you wanna get into the esports game, maybe join the esports team at Harrisburg University.
Short ride.
I wonder. So wait, maybe the schools that offer the scholarship all have an esports team at the school.
I would think so.
And you have to have some type of skill to join that team.
Oh, absolutely no. And I read to get into that, to get the scholarships, you have to prove yourself.
Sorry, my brain just realized how scholarships work.
That's okay.
Jeez Louise.
Did you not have your coffee today?
I didn't have any coffee today. I actually didn't even eat breakfast yet.
Well, that's your problem. So your brain is not working right. You need to jumpstart it,
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't know. The 1970s, arcades and home consoles were introduced. The Magnavox Odyssey came out in 1972, which was the first console that could connect to your TV set back at your house. I've never heard of the Magnavox Odyssey in all of my years.
I can't say I'm familiar with it either.
Even my friends that I like, older friends or family members that talk about playing video games when they were younger. I don't think I've ever heard anyone even mention a Magnavox Odyssey.
I mean, I've heard of Magnavox. It
must have been pretty niche back then.
I guess I've heard of Magnavox, but
Magnavox is super popular, but they had a video game console. It's the very first one that could connect to a TV at your house.
It must have been short-lived.
Yeah. Arcades were built in the following couple years, which led to popular games like Pong.
There we go.
The competitive character only became possible with the introduction of permanent high score lists, which is, I didn't know that, which makes perfect sense once you know it.
It is. That's the foundation of the allure of so much of modern arcades. When you go in, you want to beat that high score. You want to get your name up on the board.
Yep.
For glory.
But I mean, just the idea that the competitive character was kind of irrelevant prior to being able to cement it into some type of permanence. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of I'm just playing this for whatever. Your own, for your own fun, sure. But I didn't realize just how important permanent high score lists were in this whole crazy journey of video gaming and esports. Because one of the first machines to feature this was Seawolf in 1976.
Seawolf,
1976.
Now,
completely missed it.
Seawolf or
SEA? SEA.
Okay. All right. The sea and ow.
That's what the SEA means. Yes.
Okay, well, I've never heard of these games. I don't know. Cut me a break.
In 1979, Asteroids and Starfire appeared, allowing players to immortalize themselves in a high score list for the first time with a personal name abbreviation, which is even cooler. Minds were blown even further out into the atmosphere.
When was this?
1979.
Wow.
Which is kind of That was only 11 years before we were born.
I know. I said that's impressive. Did you find anything about pinball machines?
Not. I stuck pretty much to
Just the
video
esports.
games.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a.
That's what it always made me think of too at the arcade. Is like people were doing around that era. I'm sure back in the day there were pinball machines, but I guess with since the computers and the arcade games like that we're talking about weren't even developed yet, they had pinball machines way before.
Oh yeah.
That. So
Yeah.
But I guess like the novelty of changing your own name in the video game, that's what was new then.
Because then it was like super personal.
Mm-hmm.
Before you knew it was you. Now it's like those are my initials.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Immortalize yourself at like a roller skating rink.
Amazon Prime has some very. I hate to give Amazon Prime any business, like they need it. There's a lot of great. Just like weird documentaries about guys trying to beat high scores and guys who have high scores. There's like documentaries that you've probably never heard of that if you sit down for, some of them are like 45 minutes long, just about like one little guy one of them was about a guy trying to collect all of the original Nintendo cartridges.
From like the NES?
Every single one of them that was ever released. It was like 500 or something like that. And some of them are extremely rare. Some of them are extremely expensive. So that was a great one. Watch him go on his journey. But Atari held a Space Invaders tournament in 1978 that drew 10,000 players, which is like the closest thing to a modern esports tournament that happened back then, I think, that I was able to find.
You say Space Invaders.
Space Invaders.
That's a fun game.
Not to be confused with Space War.
Not to be confused with Space War.
The championships, 10,000 players competed in the championships in 1980 to win a version of Asteroids. The first national video game champion was William Salvador Heinemann.
Congratulations, Mr. Hyman. You're part of video game history.
He is, forever.
Mm-hmm.
I now know his name.
And so does everyone.
So does everyone. Walter Day from Ottumwa, Iowa, founded Twin Galaxies National Scoreboard in February of 1982, which is recognized as like the first referee service for video games.
Oh.
I guess for like the tournaments, make sure that no one's cheating or everyone's. Okay. I didn't get too specific into the actual what a referee does in these situations, but it's recognized as the first service for video games. In addition, Twin Galaxies is the official video game in pinball book of world records.
Okay.
That became generally applicable set of rules designed to prevent possible cheating and the like.
That's good. Keeping everything fair.
Yep. In 1983, the same guy, he founded the U.S. National Video Team, the world's first professional gaming team. He hosted the North American Video Game Challenge, the first video game masters tournament in the USA, recognized as a pioneer of esports.
Nice.
We salute that man.
Yes.
Didn't you do some research on actual like teams and stuff?
Well, I have. When I was watching the teams, I was getting really into looking at just some of the stuff that's come out of these some of the games that they play. Actually.
Okay. Cool.
We had already talked briefly earlier about League of Legends.
Yeah.
And I was just really interested. I was looking to see like, okay, I know people say it's one of the largest esports. I wanted to see like how big it actually is. So as of, I think it was in 2019, there were over 100 million unique viewers of the last World Championship.
Wow.
Of League of Legends.
You said 100 million?
100 million unique viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, so if you didn't think it had, like, that's how big of, like, a span it has.
Yeah, that's not bots, that's not...
So Riot Games is the one who owns and operates League of Legends. So they have 13 different leagues internationally, and they have 109 different teams and 545 different players.
Wow.
Yeah, it's I'm telling you, it's huge.
Yeah, that's...
And here's the best part. The highest paid athletes on some of those teams, they have a salary of $1 million a year or more.
I believe it. After doing some of my own research this week, I believe it. It was kind of, I knew that there were big prizes and stuff, but once I actually learned like the salaries that some of these guys earn on top of any prize money they win, whoo, baby.
Well, that's why people said like
somebody invent a time machine, please.
People think that like pro ballers and athletes are the only people that make really big money like that, but no, the esports athletes, like, you know, some of them are millionaires. I mean, and that's something else.
Good
too.
for them. Good on them.
Well, this is what's interesting is because there's been that whole debate about calling esports players athletes. Well, you know, they are athletes. You know, just because they're not doing physical feats of strength, the mental fortitude that they have. This is what I was going to talk about earlier, actually. Check this out. There was, I think it was in Queensland. Yeah, Queensland University in Australia. Okay?
I think it's the only sport that I safely say that it's the only sport where bed sores are a problem.
Yeah, when you're sitting for like literally 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
I mean,
oof.
No, but
they
did a study there at Queensland University in Australia. And they found that some of the top esports players, they showed similar aspects of mental toughness as Olympic athletes.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to focus on one thing and get so precise and with precision on a lot of that stuff, yeah, sure. Yeah, you're good at that.
Well, here, this is fun too. There's a lot of real athletes, famous athletes out there that have kind of like, you know, staked their claim and said like they're really backing esports because they see it as the future as well. I found, the great Michael Jordan himself. He, in 2018, he was part of an investment group that backed over $26 million into esports company Axiomatic, which is one of the bigger players, like one of the bigger names in the industry.
Axiomatic?
Axiomatic,
That's a fun word to say.
It is a fun word to say.
I like the way it rolls out. Axiomatic.
Axiomatic
planetary.
Is that Beastie Boys?
Yeah, I guess so.
Nice reference. There was who was it? There was another guy, another famous basketball player. Oh yeah, Shaquille O'Neal. He teamed up with A-Rod, Aaron Rodriguez from the Yankees, two of the biggest athletes of all time. And pretty much because of them, they were able to help fund NRG Esports. They play in tons of different leagues. They play Call of Duty, Fortnite, Overwatch, Rocket League.
So are they essentially a team owner?
Pretty much. It's like they operate... NRG, it like operates like its own team, I believe, is what it is. So
wow.
It's sort of kind of like being like a team owner, but like you own stake in like the league and like who operates these teams.
Okay, so
in some cases, some athletes and other celebrities have gotten and actually purchased like, you know, like individual teams and stuff like that. I'm sure they have.
You ever thought about owning an esports team, Randy?
Who can say no to that?
Soon enough.
I think that would be a home run though, because I mean, think about it. A lot of people who enjoy video games enjoy food.
Dude, like halftime at the League of Legends Champions or whatever it is, have Randy just come out and house like 12 48-ounce steaks and like 4 baked potatoes.
No, have me eat like 100 bags of like Doritos and drink like 12 Mountain Dews.
That would be
equally impressive.
I think I've watched him struggle with nachos, not because of the quantity, but just because nachos are kind of awkward to eat and crunchy and
tear up your mouth.
Yeah, that would be a challenge.
Here, hang on. I got another athlete. Now this one caught me off guard. You ready? Mike Tyson.
This morning I was watching a video about Mike Tyson's virtual boxing. It doesn't actually look like it's a game that you can play. It looks like it turns out to be some type of betting thing. So I kind of stopped looking into it, and we don't have to talk about it much. But I was like, Mike Tyson's in the esports game.
No, so he you were talking about card games earlier. There's another card game called Hearthstone.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Okay. So Mike Tyson helped with his investment. He gave an investment to this team called Fade to Karma.
Okay.
And they play Hearthstone. Their investment let them build a new state-of-the-art streaming facility.
Wow.
Yeah, like it had a...
That's a dream.
It had like a whole studio for live streaming, a tournament stage, and a rooftop party deck. How awesome is that?
What streaming studio doesn't need a rooftop party deck?
And I know, how awesome is that?
Wow.
But I did some more research. So this place is called the Ranch House.
Tremendous.
Okay, it's called the Ranch House, and it's in El Segundo. California, on the same property as Tyson Ranch, where his pot company.
Yeah, I was gonna say the famous Tyson Pod Company. I forget what his company's called, but yeah, it's supposed. Yeah.
So that I think that rooftop party deck makes a lot more sense now.
The kids that play on that team or whatever they're just chilling out, playing video games on Tyson's Ranch and smoking a bunch of weed.
I know.
Guarantee it.
Guarantee it.
Living the dream. I salute you guys too.
Oh wait, hey, I got one more here. There was oh yeah, I didn't realize this, but right here, our hometown actually has a Pittsburgh esports team called the Pittsburgh Knights.
Oh, that's what the Pittsburgh Knights is?
Yeah.
I've seen their little like logo around, and I didn't know. I thought it was some kind of like amateur sporting team or something.
It is Pittsburgh's official esports team.
That's cool. I didn't know we had that.
And so, and they play in lots of different leagues, dude. They do Rocket League, Smite, PUBG, Gears of War, Madden.
Wonder if we could interview. I wonder if we could interview somebody from that team.
You can't have a Pittsburgh esports team and not play football, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, but it makes sense here. Here there are two. I found out two of the investors in it, Mr. Wiz Khalifa and Evgeny Malkin.
They're what in it?
No, they invested.
They're
in
investors.
It.
Sorry,
Yeah.
My brain skipped over the word investor. I thought you meant players for a second. I was like, what?
Yeah. So Wiz Khalifa and Evgeny Malkin.
Yeah, that's not surprising to me, actually.
I know. I love it though.
Seems like different things that they'd be involved in. Mm-hmm. Something I found: G2 Esports is officially partnered with Adidas.
Wow.
Which is kind of like it goes along with the sporting people and everything. That's a big sports brand. Adidas is going to create the jersey for the 2021 season of G2 Esports or whatever, however that works. Along with like technical merch for the players and partnership, will also form a lifestyle apparels collaboration for G2. Which I don't know exactly what your lifestyle apparel for gaming is. It did say that the jersey will feature a small hologram of the G2 CEO Carlos Rodriguez's face.
Okay.
And aero-ready technology. How egotistical do you have to be to have a hologram of your face on the jersey that everyone's required to wear?
I was just about to say, I mean, that's a little...
Like, not only is it a picture of your face, it's a hologram, so it's like, it stands out, I imagine.
I'm always with you.
Damn, yeah. I found that, I included that because I thought that was a little weird.
Big brother is always watching you.
But that's just like, Adidas is just the latest of a lot of high-profile brands that are getting into the sponsoring game. BMW's there, MasterCard's there, Twitch, Pringles, Domino's, you name it, man. It sounds like just a great time if you can get in there professionally.
So kids, if you're listening.
All my favorite things are just hanging out together, and I'm over here.
Quit studying, start playing video games, and you too can be a millionaire.
If you're aged 14 to whatever, you're right in the target. Here's what you got to do. You got to drop out of school. Forget all these fancy book learnings. No, stay in school, kids. I firmly believe in that.
Hey.
So, do you want to move to the 1990s or?
No. Move to the 90s.
Okay. It says by the 1990s, Nintendo had jumped on board, and in 1990 held the Nintendo World Championships in the USA.
Now you're talking my language.
Yes, sir. Winners in 3 age groups won a golden Nintendo console, and I've actually seen photos of. I think on Reddit, somebody in a thread one time was like, "Oh yeah, I was the winner of one of these. Here's a photo of what I still have the console," and they uploaded photos of it. It was It's a cool prize because they're like 3 of a kind, you know, and
it's priceless.
You might be asking what the Nintendo World Championships consisted of. In the winners, they won the thing for competing in a triathlon of sorts. They competed against each other in Mario Brothers, Rad Racer, and Tetris.
Oh, I love Tetris. I think a lot of my modern anxiety though stems from playing Tetris too much as a kid.
It could be. Maybe that's why I kind of stuck away from it. I remember being the first game that I feel like it was the first game I ever played, ever. but I really didn't like it. Once I got Mario Brothers, I don't think I ever played Rad Racer, so I don't know how good I would be at that. But it
I'm not
probably
familiar with that one either.
doesn't seem like it would be extremely difficult. I can kind of imagine what a racing game like that was back then.
Yeah, bad.
Mario Brothers, I might have actually stood a chance. I was pretty good at Mario Brothers back in the day.
Oh, just like the original one?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just the straight up original Mario Brothers for Nintendo.
Did you know how to skip ahead to the end of the game?
Not off the top of my head at the moment. Maybe back then. I don't remember. I literally haven't. I don't play Nintendo even to this day, really. So I haven't thought about Nintendo for a very long time. Once I got a PlayStation for the first time, I've been PlayStation tunnel vision.
I only one I skipped with the Super Nintendo. I had the N64 all the way up to the Switch.
Super Nintendo was, I think, the last Nintendo that I remember even wanting as a kid.
It's an amazing console.
I wanted a Super Nintendo really badly.
Super Mario World is like, it took the
Poor kid
original game
problems.
from like here to here. It was amazing.
Yes, it is. Because what were some of the hot games for that? You had like Donkey Kong, right?
Oh yeah, that's when Donkey Kong came out.
Donkey Kong Country.
Donkey Kong Country was amazing.
Super Nintendo. That was a top down. You loaded the cartridge in the top,
Yeah,
correct?
it went like ka-chunk down.
And then
into it.
you pushed up the little. Was it a little like bluish gray button? Like you slid it up to
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I love. All their consoles always looked like completely different.
Yeah, Nintendo's had some pretty cool looking consoles for sure. Even
The
the
GameCube.
I loved actually. I'm glad you mentioned that. I forgot all about the GameCube.
That was one of my favorite systems.
I had a GameCube for a brief period of time in my mid-20s maybe, and it was a lot of fun. I'm not even gonna shit on the GameCube. I forgot about the GameCube.
One of the only consoles that literally had a handle built into the back of it, as if you were going to be unplugging this console and carrying it around with you all the time. It was toted as such, but I mean, it did make it convenient if you brought it to a friend's house.
The little dicks. I love the little dicks.
I'm learning lots of things about you every day.
I love the little discs of GameCube games.
Yeah, the CDs that they used were like mini CDs.
Yes.
Which was actually really amazing because when Nintendo came out with the Wii, they graduated to the full size, CDs, but you were still somehow able to insert the smaller GameCube ones and it still read them just fine.
Yeah. Nintendo, they often released like multiple color versions of their systems, so you could get it in
all
like
about different colors.
You get them in like yellow, red, green, maybe blue. Do they have blue ones? Maybe. And then like the ones that always appealed to me most were the clear ones that you could see all of the components inside. Those were always the most like.
Remember, they made a clear Game Boy.
Yeah. I mean, I think they've had a version that was clear of almost all of their consoles past Super Nintendo. Or.
I remember there'd be like a see-through or like an opaque looking like N64 Game Boy,
GameCube.
I think the Game Boy Advance as well.
Yeah, there definitely was for a Game Boy Advance. Yeah, man. Nintendo, shout out to you guys for just
being you
and really giving us the options of, customizing them to our surroundings, I guess. We could get whatever color we want. Apple did that with their those big desktop
Oh, I remember those.
They were gross.
No, it was like
I wanted one terribly though.
Those little it was the all-in-one. It looked like a gigantic bubble.
Yeah.
That was protruding from the back of the screen.
I remember the school that I went to at the time was like a real small kind of poor school. We had one of those and just a wall of just like, so whoever got to use the good Apple computer for the day was like it was like a treat. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna throw it back to Blockbuster a little bit in a roundabout way, but it's still tied into to the esports. Actually, you know what? Well, I have a random thought real quick.
All right.
Did you ever, whenever you were a kid, did you ever go to like Hills or Kmart or one of those stores that had like the video games set up in the aisles?
Yes.
Did you ever get like a random pickup game with another kid that was just like loafing there while his parents were shopping?
Yes.
Like a strange kid you didn't know?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna count that as a form of esports.
That was
because
amateur esports in the
sometimes you got to put your name in on those screens, so that is like the permanent score thing. I used to love doing that. You'd find the one other kid that was like stuck in a store for what felt like an eternity.
His mom's trying to find the right style of fabric.
Yeah, and you guys find a 2-player demo game on the store console.
And next thing you know, it's like one of those fast friendships. You were about to ask, like, you ever go into a store and look to see the little kiosks for the games? It's like, I do that today.
Yeah,
bro.
no, I still do that too. I haven't played with anybody in the store though.
No, I haven't done that in a long time.
In 1994, along with GamePro magazine, Blockbuster Video organized a world championship for video game players. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Well, in 1994, we were like 6 years old, so.
That's true.
But I imagine that I would have been excited about it. It was a championship for video game players, played on the Super Nintendo and the Sega Mega Drive.
The Sega Mega Drive.
Which was, I want to say that I know what it is just because of my ego, but I don't actually think I'd ever heard of the Sega Mega Drive prior to this
conversation.
Research.
Yes, no, because I distinctly remember Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn, Sega CD, but never heard of that. What was that called?
Sega Mega Drive.
Mega Drive. Somebody figure out what it is and make fun of us in the comments.
I was going to say, maybe I'll find a photo of it, and if you were watching on YouTube, we'll try to put like a photo of it up on the screen.
My buddy Andrew I grew up with, he grew up a few streets from me. That's what I remember. He always had all the Sega stuff, and I was so jealous. I used to always go over, and we would he would always have the coolest new Sega things. We would play Sonic and all sorts of stuff.
I had a
awesome.
Sega Genesis, which I was so happy and thrilled to have. Excuse me. Oh, I should have burped right into the microphone.
Yeah, you should have.
I should have done it.
You know what? Just embrace it.
Yeah.
Just, don't shy away from it.
I promise you guys, next time I'll be gross about it.
I want you to be your real, authentic self here.
I also had a very good friend whose grandmother always got him the latest. He had like the Sega CD and I remember specifically a Sega Dreamcast. Whenever he had the Sega Dreamcast, I remember playing that thing for countless hours. His grandma also owned a candy store right up the street from where I grew up. Perfect. And in like right behind the front part of this candy store was like where she lived. So like we'd be literally playing video games in a candy store.
Can life get any better?
I think I mentioned in the first episode that I was a little fat kid. And,
you did,
and in no small part, that was definitely a reason for it for a few years there. Shout out to my friend Jeff. I hope you're doing good. It's been a while. Anyway, I would have liked to have played in the Blockbuster tournament. I think the games that were played were Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Virtua Racer, and I'm familiar with both of those games.
I played almost every Sonic games I could ever get my hands on.
I exhausted myself with Sonic when I was a kid for sure.
I always loved the Sonic Adventure 2 battle for GameCube. It just had the most amazing soundtrack because it was like,
I don't know if I ever played that one.
No, the soundtrack was like, it was like really like over the top, like bright, happy, but like cheesy music. Like it's just mwah. In
my head, I can kind of hear the Sonic music, and it's always been kind of like
get the speed of sound. It's so it's like so like 90s-esque,
Dude, do you remember when the Ninja Turtles, this is slightly off topic, but kind of exactly along with that, the Ninja Turtles had a live stage show that went on tour for a little bit?
What?
And they would come out and sing songs, and like it was people dressed up in like foam Ninja Turtle suits that would like come out and sing songs, and then Master Splinter would come out and rap.
What?
Yeah, man. I don't think we'd be able to share it because I think the music would get us strike or whatever, but definitely
you're not imagining this. This is something that 100%. Happened. Just is not in my brain.
I'll show you a video whenever we're done recording this.
Okay.
It's easily YouTubeable. I'll even include a link.
I'm writing it down. I'm not forgetting about this.
I'll even include a link in the description of this video.
Please do. So Mutant Turtles.
It was like a live stage show.
Stage show.
Somebody clearly did a bunch of acid, and it was like, man, I really would love to see the Ninja Turtles in a live setting.
You know what the world needs right now,
dude? It's rad. I would pay money to go see it today if they
live action Turtles.
The revival.
I love the Turtles. Did you ever play the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles video game for NES.
Yeah, probably, but it's been 2 decades at least.
It was one of the hardest games.
I remember
It was so unforgiving.
in general, I remember a lot of the games I played on the original Nintendo to be just hard, but I was young when I had, like, I was just...
You have better reflexes.
I guess. I remember specifically playing a Bart Simpson game. I don't remember which one it was.
Was the one where you were riding around on the skateboard?
Don't you do that in a few of them?
Well, I always
this
remember
one,
the arcade game where you could control each of the Simpsons, like Bart had
I remember
a
that,
skateboard,
yeah.
Marge had the vacuum cleaner.
I remember that.
Lisa, I think she had like her saxophone, maybe. I can't remember.
I think the Bart Simpson game for Nintendo that I remember is it was like aliens or something. You were getting abducted by aliens or somebody got abducted. I don't remember. The point is, I just remember games just being more challenging back then, but I think it's because I was a kid and it was like just harder to like figure out the way to get surpass certain obstacles and challenges.
That's true.
It's just literally a lack of, you just don't have that ability yet.
Yeah.
But it was fun to play. I spent a lot of time playing that Bart Simpson game.
On the other side of that spectrum, sometimes you think when you get older, you'd be better at playing some of those kid games. But we just talked about with pro gaming, once you get past into your 30s, you know, you don't have your those reflexes just aren't there like when they were as a kid. Like I tried to go back and play like some of those original Mario games and stuff like, and I think to myself like, how was I able to do this when I was like 12 so easily?
One game that I want to go back and play now is the Toy Story game for Sega Genesis, because I never got to beat that game. I could never beat it as a kid.
I can't say I've ever played it.
I kind of want to go back and see if it's as challenging as I remember it being.
That's a dangerous game when you go back and revisit something you haven't seen in like 20 plus years. Like
I remember it looking great for a Sega game.
It's like, you know, it's like here's the memory of it, and like then here's the reality.
My favorite game. Do you have a favorite video game?
That's a tough call.
While you're thinking, my favorite video game of all time for the Sega Genesis was Booger Man.
Booger Man.
Are you familiar with it?
I am not. I bet you're going to tell me about it, though.
Booger Man is this... He was kind of like... He had very small legs, but he was kind of top heavy. So he like big bulking chest, real small arms, and his mouth and chin were real big. And he would just go through... It was called like Booger Man in Underworld, in some type of Underworld. And he would run through these levels, and he would like flick boogers to kill enemies in front of him. And if you could turn around and hold down one of the buttons, and it would build up a fart, and then you could release a big gas bubble that would go out and kill your enemies. And whenever you reached the end, you collected plungers along your way. And whenever you would reach the end of each level, he would flush himself down a toilet, and then like you could make him say booger, and all kind of like, it was not a game. I mean, it's totally a game for kids, but it probably a game that like some parents were probably like, dude, that's so stupid. No, that's disgusting.
I cannot believe that was actually a game that was made.
Booger Man, a pick and flick adventure. That's exactly what its little tagline was.
What system was this for?
I had it for Sega, but I think it was also available for whatever, maybe Super Nintendo. Was that at the same time? Sega, Super Nintendo?
Maybe.
There was another version of it available for another system. I think it was Super Nintendo.
That's amazing, actually. I cannot believe that somebody gave that the green flag.
I'll show you a little clip of that too.
Or the green light, whatever. You know what I mean.
Yeah. Oh man, it was that makes me feel real nostalgic. Takes me back.
Hang on. Oh, here, check this out. I was looking up some other stuff about Riot Games. They're the ones who made League of Legends. Okay. So in 2014. They created a virtual heavy metal band.
Virtual heavy metal band. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of virtual bands before?
Yeah.
Like the Gorillaz.
Yep.
And then like Death Clock from Metalocalypse. So they made a virtual band comprised of all of the members of the band were like the playable like champions that they have in the game. So it was like this whole like game made, you know, and it was a lot of the in-house.
Did you have the ability to win yourself into the band and replace a member? Like if you,
that would be
if
cool.
One of the band members was no longer a champion in whatever game it was, did they get kicked out of the band and you could?
I don't think it was like that, but
see, that would be
brutal.
MTV would record that and put it on.
Yes, they would
put it on weekly,
and then they make it weirder and then put it on Adult Swim, and that's what Metalocalypse is. But I love the name of the band was Pentakill.
Pentakill. Wow.
Yeah,
that's
it's
aggressive.
I know it's heavy. It's really. They said it was a heavy metal band.
Yeah.
I listened to some of their music and it was pretty heavy.
Pretty heavy. Nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
I mean, if you have a name like Pentakill, you better be heavy, or you better
be bringing
better change your name.
Seriously, you can't be bringing any weak sauce with the name of Pentakill. So most of the music was made by. So the band was fake, but the music was real, obviously, and it was made by the actual like in studio. Musicians there, like at League of Legends and Riot Games, but they got big enough. They actually got to do. They got to play with Tommy Lee,
Wow.
drummer for Motley Crue.
Wow.
Yeah, and Danny Lohner, who is a former member of Nine Inch Nails.
Ah, okay. I was
Right?
like, that name sounds familiar. Danny Lohner. Wow, that's cool.
I know. What just started as like a, hey, this will be cool for the fans kind of a thing, make a band, and. They ended up making a second band called KDA, which was a female K-pop group.
That's that was a weak one. That's not necessarily
Shame.
something that would that I would, if you told me that at the very beginning of it, I'd be like, oh, that's never gonna work. I would have shit on that idea, I think.
No, they had KDA play at like one of the tournaments they had, and it's like a live stream kind of a thing. It got millions and millions of views.
Not surprised, I guess. I'm not surprised. While we're still hanging out in 1994, I made a little note that this is like right around the time that people started looking at PCs as like gaming of the future.
Oh, yeah.
And LAN parties started popping up in between like 94 and the later 90s. And that's where a lot of the early pro teams developed out of, was like the computer gaming LAN parties. Get off the table. So that's about it for the mid 90s, and then 1999 favored playing in network against others in the team. Like Counter-Strike was released on June 19th, 1999 as a mod of Valve title Half-Life. I didn't realize that Counter-Strike came out of Half-Life.
I did not realize that either. I mean, obviously Half-Life has its own like, gaming fandom, that's almost like
I've heard of Half-Life and Counter-Strike.
Cult-like proportions,
both separately. I know they were both huge titles, huge games, but I did not realize that one was a spin-off of the other. Or not a spin-off, the right word? Can I use spin-off?
Maybe.
In my head, it's a spin-off.
I don't know. We're gonna Matt check you. We'll Matt check you on that one here.
Because it says as a mod of Valve title.
In my idea, in my mind, its idea is like the game was made and then somebody got like a source for the game, they modded it, and then they made their own game out of it.
Okay.
So it's essentially like based off of.
It's a huge multiplayer title.
When was that? 99?
99, June 19th, 1999.
I knew that Counter-Strike's been around for a long time. I didn't realize it came out in 99 though. That's crazy.
Sure did.
It's literally over 22 years old now.
Yeah. Man, that makes me feel old. Not that I played those games then, but just like, I don't know. I feel old a lot these days. It's one of those things that you're like, man, I'm never going to feel that way. I feel old. I feel it in my bones. I feel it in my heart.
Got a dull pain in my right knee right now from sitting down.
I woke up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom because that's something you do at 32. And when I stood up out of my bed, my knee popped, clicked or something. Like you crack your knee a little bit sometimes.
So loud that you thought it was a home intruder.
No, it hurt. It actually popped and made me lose my balance for a second. I was like, oh God, here it is. Here it is.
It's happening.
Yep, I'm breaking down. Call in the doctors.
Oh man.
Call in standby. Yeah, it was jarring. I was like, oh man. I was kind of, when I woke up the second time in the morning, I was careful when I stood up. Yeah, I don't know. In the first part of the year 2000, developments in South Korea led to the first World Cyber Games held in Seoul, South Korea.
Cyber Games.
Cyber Games. That's when it starts to sound super official.
Oh yeah.
We're into new territory here. The first World Cyber Games. the whole entire world now. You're no longer restricted to your house, your neighborhood, your circle of friends, or even your state or country.
That's why it's
the
such
whole
a
world.
That's why it's such a cool thing nowadays. It literally brings the whole world together.
Yes.
You said it took place in Seoul.
In Seoul.
I feel like that would be such a cool place to see, like just like this crazy, hub of technology and stuff like that.
I'd go to South Korea.
My brother went there just a year or two ago for work. He got to spend 3 weeks down there. He said it's probably some of the best food he's ever had in his life. You go every 10 feet, there's amazing street food.
Randy's been to Seoul, right? You've been to South Korea. Got to start talking, man.
I know. Come on,
You're making
Randy.
us look bad.
You're letting us down.
Okay. Maybe we just
right.
need to mic him next week.
We can't. He's been
He's
saying
holding
stuff
out
the
for
whole
them.
time, but we can't hear him.
Can't hear him. He's just not mic'd. Sorry, guys. User error. A little bit of info on the World Cyber Games, if you're interested, Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
An international competition with multi-game titles in which hundreds of esports athletes from around the world participate in a variety of competitions known as the Esports Olympics.
Ooh.
Yes. Gets even more official somehow. Attempts to emulate traditional sports tournaments such as the Olympics. Events include an official opening ceremony, a competition for gold, silver, and bronze medals, held annually in different cities around the world. The World Cyber Games 2020 had 650 million views globally.
Wow.
That is nothing to shake a stick at. That is impressive no matter who you are. 650 million views.
Wow.
Dude, there's no TV show that gets 650 million views when it's happening.
I know. Seriously.
Is there?
Maybe.
We'll have to fact check this.
We're gonna Matt check that.
Yeah, we'll Matt check that one.
We're gonna Matt check that one. What was it? That's what's so neat about this, man, is it's grown from something so that there's entire genres of viewership now of people, like shows, podcasts, and things that are literally just dedicated to talking about pro games and video games in general now. And back in the day, like you said, it was just this kind of weird little niche,
Yeah. In 2003, the first Electronic Sports World Cup was played in Poitiers, France. I'm assuming it's close at least. And the grand final was held in Paris.
Wow.
Yeah. The Electronic World Sports Convention, I think, is what it's called now. Formerly known as the Electronic Sports World Cup. It's the international pro gaming competition. Every year, winners of national qualifiers from around the world earn the right to represent their country in the finals. And this is where I learned...
For glory.
Yeah, this is where I learned that Sweden's up there. The medal tally for...
Oh, yeah.
I think the most recent, the most concurrent medal tally for everything. France is in first place with 62 total medals. They got 25 bronze, 14 silver, 23 gold. The United States, whoop whoop, whoop whoop. We're in second place with 30 total medals. God bless America, kind of. And then Sweden is actually right behind. They have 35 total.
Wow.
To our 30 total, but I think because we have more gold medals, actually, they have one more. I don't know how they're considered in third place and we're in second place.
But still, they're the major player.
Yeah, they're a major player.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the top 3.
People all over the world are playing these games, yo. Oh, wait. Oh, I got to bring it back to our Irish roots. Okay. They're one of the most famous streamers right now, /pro gamer. He's known as Mr. Sean William McLaughlin. He's 29 from Ireland. And he arrived on the scene back in 2012. All it took for him to jumpstart his streaming was he got a shout out from PewDiePie. And
I believe it.
Dude, his subs went from 2.5 thousand to 15,000 in 4 days. So my favorite...
That's going to be hard to deal with. Knowing that your audience grew that substantially so quickly.
Yeah, seriously.
Whoa, I'm used to so many people, and then all eyes on me. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
seriously. You know, all it took was one shout out, and then like, cause like he saw his videos and liked what he was doing. Another one of those like let's play style guys where he walks you through these, not walks through, but like he shows you the games as he's playing them. He makes funny comments, and he's just got a delightful personality. And he's got this like little lilting Irish accent. He starts off his videos. He has a catchphrase, okay? He starts off all of his videos and he goes, "Top of the morning to ya, laddies."
He could be a little more original.
I know, but it started as just kind of like a joke. Like
I'm annoyed by it.
No. But here's the best part: is that he leaned into it. It started as a joke, and it was first.
It's not even a funny joke.
It's a joke because it's stereotypical and hackneyed.
Yeah, I don't think that's funny.
Well, then you're just a cynical asshole.
I have my sense of humor does not allow. Yeah, that's the most obvious thing for him to say. Why? I don't personally think that's funny. If anyone else thinks it's funny, to each their own. I don't personally find that funny.
Well then,
that guy can go somewhere with his accent and his stupid catchphrase. Come up with something more original, dude. I mean, if you have the audience, why are you using something so top of the morning to you?
tell us how
I
you
feel like
really
he's
feel.
talking down to people. We're smarter than that. Give us something better than that. Man.
I love that's the thing that really did it for you. That's what sets you off.
I don't know. I think it's just because typical, I don't know. When you think of Irish people, I'm Irish. I'm very Irish. So my entire life, I hear people say like Irish things. And that's one of the, I don't know. Over the years, it just wears on me. If you have a cool Irish accent, say something cool and natural in your Irish accent. Don't say top of the morning to you. At least cut it out of the version I watch.
Anyway.
Specifically for me. Yeah. Off the topic. Sorry, sometimes I just get angry about something and I have to.
We've been working on it with him. You know, he has his breathing exercises that he's trying to work on. You know, but
Yeah.
you know, but you know, just we're getting the level of outburst down.
Steer
which is
the
nice.
train back to the rails here a little bit.
Tell us some more.
The CPL World Tour, which is the Cyber Athlete Pro League, the CPL, was the first esports event in 2005 to be endowed with $1 million.
Holy crap!
The game was the Painkiller.
Painkiller.
Yeah, indexed in Germany at the time, so I think it's a German game.
Never heard of that one.
No, I'm not familiar with it either. I don't even remember when this happened, but it said it was live on TV. It says the series took place in 10 cities worldwide and ended with a finale in New York City, broadcast by MTV Live.
That's neat.
The winner, his name was Dutchman Sander V.O. Kaasjager. Earned 250.
Really rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
It does. I wrote all of the stuff that was there. I'm not even sure what is part of his real name and what is all made up. But he earned $250,000 for that.
Wow.
And that sounds more of like a Swedish Nordic kind of name. Kaasjager.
Kaasjaga.
I wish I had a cool name like that. Kaasjager. That's a strong name. Kosh Yeager. That's how people in Pittsburgh say, "Hey, Mr. Kosh Yeager."
Gas Jaeger. You got any Red Bull?
The Championship Gaming Series of 2007 caused a sensation because it was the first to offer a prize of $1 million plus.
Wow.
$1 million plus. As the 2000s rolled around, esports only continued to grow in popularity. We see the debut of tournament hosts like World Cyber Games, the Electronic World Cup, and the Major League Gaming. Major League Gaming is still considered one of the world's most prominent hosts in esports. What do you think about that? The MLG.
I think it is really a testament to how big this thing is, man. I did not even know.
Gaming.
I did not even know when we started getting into this how big it was.
Yep, it's a pro esports organization headquartered in New York City. Founded by Sundance Giovanni and Mike Sepso. Sundance Giovanni is also a strong name.
That's the name. I thought you were saying something about Sundance, like the thing.
That's the guy's name. The guy's
First
name is Sundance.
Last name Giovanni.
Yes, sir.
That's a crazy name.
That is strong. That name makes me jealous. And his partner, Mike Sepso. Meh.
I just feel that like guys whose names are like, his name is like Hammer or something like that.
Yeah. Major League Gaming was acquired by Activision Blizzard in January 2016.
Ooh.
Sepso stated this is intended to leverage the purchase as part of... he has a plan to leverage the purchase as part of a plan to build an esports television network.
That would be neat, actually.
Isn't there already a TV network that's geared towards video games, like G4 or something like that?
Yeah, it is. But I think that he would mean, but it talks about games and stuff like that. I think that he was talking about literally one that's only always broadcasting like pro tournaments and like competitions and stuff like that. I don't think that is out there yet. I mean, if it is, once again,
if 650 million people watched that one tournament, the championship of that one finals, I think that there's definitely a market for a TV network.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised there's not already a channel.
That is surprising with how big it is.
Yeah, because I mean, jumping right into the money, there's a ton of money to be made in this. Prize pools for both the 2019 Dota 2 and 2019 Fortnite World Cup surpassed $30 million each.
Oh my gosh.
$30 million. That is an insane amount of money. Epic Games creator of Unreal Engine, powering titles like Gears of War and Infinity Blade, earmarked $100 million for the 2019 Fortnite World Cup. It's $100 million that's going into that. And if
we'd known this kind of thing existed when we were growing up.
When I hear large sums of money like that, I just instinctively, for some reason, think of every other thing $100 million could be spent on, other than esports. But I understand that it's its own business and it has to have its own profits and its own economy. And man, it's just $100 million is staggering for one thing.
Well, there are some people now that they're starting to make. They said they're trying to make money off of esports. They're starting to make movies about esports.
Oh yeah.
They are.
Like what kind of movie?
Well,
like documentaries?
No, not documentaries. Like original films, like dealing with the theme of esports. Now, there's been tons of great movies about video games before. I mean, obviously the first one is, you think all the way back to Tron, like the original one with Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
That was cool. That's like when we were talking about like back in like the 70s, you know, and like in the 70s and 80s when like computers and everything were like completely new.
Yeah.
You know, so that was like groundbreaking.
They were still doing a lot of practical stuff and mixing in the graphics, the computer, you know, stuff that they were able to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all cool aesthetic.
Oh yeah, and then. But then you see nowadays, like we've seen, think about in the last couple of years, movies like Wreck-It Ralph, which is literally that movie was only made possible by this vast catalog of like video games that already exist in popular culture and like in people's minds.
Yeah.
For so long, people have grown up with these games. What's the other one I really liked? Did you ever see Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, with Michael Cera.
I read the graphic novel too.
What was her name? Mary
am I
Elizabeth.
thinking of the wrong?
Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
I might be thinking of the wrong thing. I might not be the graphic novel I'm thinking of. But yeah, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is awesome.
Oh my God, yeah. No. They were they started making movies about all of these about esports, and I found a couple of the premises of them. And
please dazzle me.
Now listen, I'm really happy that they're making these movies. I think it's really good for all of them.
Sure.
But some of these premises just. I don't know.
Give them to me straight.
So this one is called The King's Avatar, starring Yeshe or Yang Yang.
I was gonna say it just by the title alone, it made me think of like Japanese or
Chinese.
Asian.
Yes. I'm the language master, so I'll try and pronounce these as best as I can. If not, then once again, everybody can make fun of me in the comments. Wow, he's so presumptuous. Okay, let's see. So, Yeshe is a well-known top-tier player in an online game, Glory. After forcefully expelled out of his professional team, he was employed in an internet cafe as an odd job worker. And that's all
It doesn't give you any. His life just ends as a cafe worker.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Say
It doesn't go on
happen.
to he fights his way back into the circuit, defeating the people. Wow.
I don't know. That was the premise it gave.
Well,
for
guys,
me.
if you want
So-
to, it's a story of riches to rags, pretty much. The guy just works the rest of his life as a cafe worker, which is a modest income.
This one's so great. Like talk about like gravitas setting up the premise here. So this one's called G.G. Horsens.
Okay.
I know as much about it as you do right now. Sandra's mother just wants her to have a normal future with a great job for her. But that's not what Sandra wants. She wants to be a gamer.
Man, they make it sound so dirty and illegal. But that's not. It made like she's doing something wrong. She wants to be a gamer. She's in there every night under her covers with her handheld controllers, just practicing button patterns
till her fingers are getting sore and bleeding.
I can't talk right now, Mom. I'm practicing.
Oh my God! Wait, they made a no.
What?
It sounds like they made it just says Clash Royale. But that's a game. That's the game.
So they made a movie of it?
That's what it says.
I'm not surprised. It sounds like something they could stretch a present.
A rich king goes hunting for crowns to give to their daughter's birthday. The princess is secretly fighting for other kings for crowns. Will the king get enough crowns till the daughter's birthday?
Oh man, that's a thin premise. I was trying to defend it at the beginning. I was like, I could see them maybe stretching a cool movie out of that. Nope. It's really just the game premise.
It really is.
Wow. It could just be one crown, and that might be a cool premise I could get on board with. Like, okay, he needs the crown to do his thing, and yada yada. Man.
I like this one here. This just reminds me of just like... This one it just sounds like so cheesy, like High School Musical style, like... An up-and-coming video gamer faces his greatest challenge yet as he and his team must overcome a fiery gaming superstar, as well as their own battling egos, to win the ultimate video game championship.
I would probably watch that one. When was that one made?
2018.
Oh, in 2018. If it had like a cool 80s feel to it, I'd probably watch that one.
No, I don't think it has any of that. I'm sorry.
Might have to look up a trailer for some of these.
There was even an Esports Times Holiday Smash TV special they made once before.
A holiday special, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Ringing in the holiday season.
Yeah, man. So it's...
Wow.
See, video games are just like they're coming all through culture and all facets of life.
In some areas more successfully than others. We'll give
Yes.
movies a few years to catch up. Oh man, because like back there's a 16-year-old kid won $3 million playing Fortnite in a recent tournament.
Well, dude,
It was the largest cash grab by a solo player in esports history.
I mean, Fortnite. That's Oh yeah, I forgot. Ninja. He's one of the other really big guys. What's his name? Richard Blevins. He's Ninja. He literally became famous, and now that's what he does. He was good at Fortnite, and now he plays Fortnite. I mean, he does a lot of other things too, don't get me wrong, but I mean, dude literally has had over like, I think, what was it? I wrote it down earlier. Oh my God, yeah, 2 billion views on YouTube just for playing video games. Good for you, man.
If you can get the views, do it.
Seriously.
I kind of wanted to touch on this real quick because I think this is the most interesting information that I've gotten. For everybody, this is kind of how the revenue streams for it break down.
Okay.
So if you're hearing all these large numbers and you're like, wow, that's a big number, that's a lot of money. How does that all equate? How does that all break down? I got all your answers for you. In 2019, $456.7 million went for sponsorships.
Okay.
$251.3 million for media rights, $189.2 million for advertising, $103.7 million for merch and ticket sales, and then $95.2 million for game publisher fees. So like sponsors, media rights, and advertising have seen drastic growth due to target audience being untethered to traditional media, which means like, live streaming and stuff like that isn't like television. Gamers ages 18 to 25 spend 77% more time watching people playing online than watching broadcast sports.
Give me that statistic again.
Yeah. Gamers 18 to 75 spend 77% more time watching people playing online than watching broadcast sports.
You know what? Sometimes you hear statistics and you wonder if they're true. I totally believe that
I
one,
believe
man.
it too,
especially nowadays, especially through 2020. Oh my God, people are looking on YouTube to watch people doing anything.
Yeah.
You said there was a guy whose big thing is he compares different types of glues. For goodness sakes.
Yeah, I love Tyler Tube. Breaking down the audience just a little bit, there are roughly 450 million total viewers of esports today.
Wow.
And is only expected to grow in the next few years. I can imagine it. How wouldn't it?
It's going to be $1 billion industry.
Yeah. In 2017, the total audience was 335 million. That's so crazy. And that's like 192 million occasional viewers and 143 million esports enthusiasts. 2018 was 395 million. 2019, 454 million, and then it's projected to be 654 million in 2022. And seeing that their 2020 thing got 650 million people to watch it, I think they're right on target.
I think so. Literally, esports is not going anywhere except up.
Yeah. Traditionally, esports has had a tradition. Redundant much, Matthew? Thank you. I'm stupid. For having male-heavy viewership, which, I always kind of assumed was more male-populated, dominated. But in recent years, women make up more than 30% of today's audience, up 6.5% from just 2016.
Wow. That's a big jump.
Yeah, a lot of ladies get into the gaming field. That's cool.
That's awesome.
My sister was never interested in gaming, so I can never count on her to play.
That was always like a me and my brother thing. For sure, growing up, my sisters always wanted to do other things, but no, I think that's awesome that it's like becoming less of like a gendered thing. It's just like anybody can enjoy video games now, and if it makes you happy, then awesome. That's what they're there for. You don't have to be a pro gamer to enjoy video games and like find it as a nice like escape. And
yeah, if you're listening to this episode and you like video games, play your heart out. You're not really hurting anybody. Mm-hmm. As long as it's not like affecting your day-to-day life and
like don't like be late for work.
Yeah.
Don't skip class.
Yeah.
To play games,
Yeah, Mr. GTA. Don't miss your school bus, kids.
Yeah.
But just have fun.
Have fun with it, and there's absolutely no causal proof that, playing games that have violence make you more violent. That's all been debunked.
Yeah,
for years now, and in fact, it helps improve your reflexes and spatial reasoning, logic, strategy. There's so many good things that you can get from it, and camaraderie. Meeting people, spending time with other people.
That's the one thing I miss the most, really, is just being able to sit down with your friends and play. The online stuff is cool, but it doesn't feel as personal.
Yeah. All right, folks.
That was episode 2. That flew by.
I know. We had a good time. I hope you guys had a good time learning more about esports, video games, and pro gamers.
We're available not only here on YouTube, but we're available on Spotify, Google Podcasts,
Pocket Cast,
all of that good stuff. Anchor.
So if you can't watch the show, you can always find lots of ways to listen as well.
We'll see you next time.
Take care, guys.